The Gay Games.
Hola, muy buenas amigos, amigas, bienvenidos a la nueva historia del canal, la nueva aventura gráfica que os traemos, de app Synchronicity, Tomorrow Comes Today, ¿vale? Es la primera vez que vamos a decir el nombre y la última así, el Tomorrow Comes Today nos lo vamos a ahorrar en los próximos vídeos, ¿vale? Y bueno, os traemos esta nueva aventura gráfica, es de un corte más serio, no es de cachondeo como Randall's Monday, así que vamos a ver qué nos depara esta nueva aventura. Venga, vamos a darle a nueva partida. Y vamos a ello.
Recover?
I don't know. It's too soon to say. We should let him rest.
We have thousands of bodies piled in the streets.
He's been very feeble for weeks. He can't get up. He doesn't speak. Do you think we should call a doctor?
Call a doctor? Here?
You're right. Let's just hope he wakes up one of these days. Come on, my friend. Hang on. Don't give up.
Please, let me get to this.
Vale, muy bien. Nos tenemos que despertar. Supongo que somos nosotros, claro. Como digo, esta aventura es... Vale.
Wake up, Michael.
Oh, Michael.
Come on, you have to wake up.
Vale, antes de... Estas son las opciones que tenemos, ¿vale? Para contestar. Antes de contestarlas, quiero comentaros que he puesto la cámara aquí. Creo que lo único que va a molestar a veces es si nuestra respuesta tiene que ser más larga de la cuenta. Lo mismo se va a meter aquí un poquito, ¿vale? He estado mirando un par de vídeos para ver por dónde salen las letras para que la cámara no me moleste. Y bueno, he decidido ponerla ahí. Y bueno, ya digo, si en algún momento se mete dentro, yo lo leeré, ¿vale? Y bueno, si hay cualquier texto se mete dentro también, yo lo leo sin problema. Y ya que, como habéis visto, el juego viene doblado en inglés, ¿vale? Aunque tenemos nuestra traducción en castellano, pero viene doblado en inglés. Y bueno, vamos a ver qué respuesta tenemos. ¿Quién eres? ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde te escondes? ¿Qué ha sucedido? ¿Qué es este lugar? Por favor, responde. Vamos a empezar por el principio.
Who are you? Who's there?
Please, Michael, wake up. Wake up.
This silence. And this darkness. Where am I? Damn it. I can't remember. Where are you? Where are you hiding?
Michael, please wake up. You have to wake up.
Michael? Is that my name? Please tell me where I am. I can't remember anything. What's happening? What is this place? Please, tell me!
Wake up, Michael. Please wake up. Wake up now.
Don't go! Please! Come back! Come back! This silence. This darkness. This emptiness.
Vale. Vamos a ver. Maletín. Esta es nuestra maleta, ¿vale? Y aquí... ¿Quién qué? ¿En qué? Acto 1. Un campo lleno de ratas.
Good morning. I hope you're feeling better.
But
Now, don't be alarmed. I'm glad you feel strong enough to get out of bed. That's wonderful news. I must say, you're looking much better, considering what you've been through, of course.
who are you?
Ah, yes, of course. Forgive my manners. You've been with us for so long that I forgot that you don't know who we are. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rod Atkinson. Well, I was the director of the Municipal Property Registry before, well, you know, before the world collapsed on us.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Atkinson. But
¿Dónde estoy? ¿Qué es este sitio? ¿Puede decirme qué hago aquí?
where am I? What is this place?
You are in what I venture to call our home, our humble, hopefully temporary home. This is one of the many trailers that make up the refugee camp, and believe me, we can consider ourselves lucky to live between these four walls. Most of the inhabitants of this hellhole, excuse my crude language, have nothing more than plastic tarps and cardboard for shelter.
Wait a second. Did you say refugee camp?
Yes, of course. The Facility for Temporary Accommodation of Disaster Victims is what they called it. You know, after the army declared martial law following the catastrophe. You look a little confused, if you don't mind my saying so. Do you really not know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I'm afraid not. Let me ask you. Can you tell me what I'm doing here?
Yes, of course. I think we owe you an explanation. A few days after the Great Wave, we found you lying in a ditch near the airport. You were badly injured and unconscious. We couldn't just leave you there. Someone had already stolen your luggage and identification. It was awful. So we decided to take care of you ourselves and brought you here. You've been with us ever since. By the way, I should tell you that when we found you, your clothes were ripped to shreds. So we threw them away. The clothes you're wearing now are mine. You'll find more things in that wardrobe. If you need anything, just help yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Atkinson. But
La gran ola, ¿de qué está hablando? Ha dicho con nosotros. ¿Quién más vive aquí? ¿Veis? Aquí ahora mismo se ha metido dentro de lo que es... vamos, de lo que soy yo. Así que nada, bueno, solo pone señor Atkinson, no pone nada más. Veo por sus explicaciones que me salvaron la vida. Le estoy muy agradecido, señor Atkinson. Joder, es que nombre más difícil.
the Great Wave? What are you talking about?
Well, what would I be talking about? That damned, excuse my language, explosion that brought ruin to all of us. The origin of this filthy new world that now seems to be our permanent reality. But do you really not remember? Do you really not remember anything about all this?
Nada de nada.
I feel a little weak and dizzy, Mr. Atkinson. Excuse me. I'm afraid I can't. I can't remember a thing.
I see. There have been many cases like yours in the camp. Try to rest and not to get too agitated. Well, there's one thing I can tell you. You can consider yourself fortunate. There's nothing nice to remember about recent times, believe me.
Vale.
You said with us. Who else lives here?
Ah, yes, of course. I still haven't properly introduced my family to you. Now is a bad time, but I promise to make proper introductions later. My wife and I sleep in the other room, and, well, little Colin sleeps with us.
Colin?
Yes, Colin is our only child. Our one ray of hope since the catastrophe. I'm going to confess something to you. Colin is the only reason my wife and I still struggle to keep going in this new world. We would have given up a long time ago if it weren't for him.
Of course. I understand. So that was your wife's voice that woke me up a few minutes ago, right?
My wife? No, that's impossible. My wife has been with me in the other room the whole time. We haven't come out of there for hours. But I'm glad you're feeling better and are fully conscious now. I guess we could say you've been reborn. And although the circumstances aren't the best, simply being alive nowadays is practically a luxury. So, welcome to our home.
Por fin nació la mujer que me habla a mí. Me he vuelto loco.
From what you've told me, I see that you've saved my life. I'm very grateful, Mr. Atkinson.
No, please. You don't have to thank us. We just did what we had to. It's our moral obligation to uphold the ethical principles of civilization in this new world. But call me Rod, please. And, well, we also did it for Colin, you see. What kind of future does he face if we accept that it's every man for himself, that no one cares about anyone else? It's a terrifying prospect, don't you think? We're just doing whatever we can to avoid that future, that's all.
Está poniendo brutísima.
Rod! Rod!
Please excuse me, but I have to leave you now.
No, wait, please. What's happening? Don't go yet.
I'm sorry, I understand that you have a lot of questions to ask me, but now isn't the time. Believe me, I promise to answer each and every one of your questions in peace and quiet later. Sorry, but I have to go.
Rod, please, quickly!
Okay, all right.
Now that you're feeling better, you can go out and take a walk around the camp. But please, be very careful out there. The world you knew before is gone. Heed my warning, don't touch anything. Don't talk to anyone, and don't get mixed up in anything. At least until someone explains to you how things work in this new world the Great Wave left us. Everything has changed so much out there.
All right. Thanks for the advice.
Ah, one more thing before I go. You've been with us for quite a while now, and we don't even know what to call you. What is your name?
My name? Michael. My name is Michael.
Very pleased to meet you, Michael. We'll talk again later, I promise.
Michael. That's what that disembodied voice called me. That must be my name. Wake up, Michael. That's all she said. Leaving me in this immense void where I can't remember anything. Great wave? New world? Refugee camp? But what the devil could have happened out there? I think it might be a good idea to go out there and take a look.
Supuestamente hubo una granola, una explosión, una granola, el mundo se ha ido al garete y yo no me acuerdo de nada. Vale. Vamos a mirar por aquí a ver, horno por aquí.
There's a very worn old notebook hidden under the lid. The cover is practically falling off the spiral binding. It looks like someone stashed it here some time ago and then forgot about it.
Vale, pues ahora la miramos.
A pile of frying pans, plates, and dirty silverware waiting to be washed. Ugh, this place smells like a cheap, greasy spoon.
Vale, vamos a echarle un vistacillo a lo que hemos cogido, ¿vale?
I don't see...
No, pero... Ay, vale.
It's a bit dented. It was used to cover a very large roasting pan. In fact, it still has some traces of food stuck to it. It's an old accounting ledger that still has a few blank pages left in it. From what's written in here, it looks like someone was using it as a diary, before ripping out almost all its pages and leaving it inside the oven in the trailer.
Vale, ha vuelto a hablar con sus abuelos. Con mis padres muertos. Sus ausencias son cada vez más largos y aterradores. Su madre está sufriendo demasiado. Hemos acordado guardar el arma con 2 balas dentro de la caja de galletas. Vale, hay una caja de galletas con un arma. Que Dios nos perdone cuando se vaya. Pero no hay futuro para nosotros sin él. El rugido de esta brecha en el cielo sigue aterrando a Colin. ¿Ah? ¿Colin? ¿Es suya la libreta? Vamos, el Altísimo ha decidido rasgar el cielo. Y a sus ángeles... Y esa palabra no la entiendo, no... Y envió, puede ser. Y animó. Bueno, y animó a sus ángeles a castigarnos a través de la herida. Puede ser. Es que no la pillo, ¿sabes? Nos dice el padre Barclay. Es un hombre santo. Mis subordinados, mis compañeros, mis superiores. ¿Es que ya nadie se acuerda de Rob Atkinson ahí fuera? Pero debemos ser fuertes, por el niño. La gran ola no podrá arrebatarnos quiénes somos. Vale, yo no leo muy bien. Pero... Ah, vale. Digo, ¿cómo salgo de aquí? tío, se me ha ido la olla.
I'm not gonna snuff out this oil lamp. This place looks sinister enough with light.
Mira el guardarropa.
I'm impossible. It's locked. I'm afraid my host forgot to unlock it before he left.
Vale, pues aquí así a primera vista no hay nada más. Vamos a ver, pone puerta cerrada, no creo que pueda abrirla.
It's no use. It won't open. I heard Rod bolt it from inside.
Vale, pues vamos a salir hacia aquí. Bueno, a mirar la sábana.
Well, look at that. When I pulled back the sheet, part of it got torn on the spring sticking out of the bed frame. I hope Rod doesn't notice.
Espero que Rod no se dé cuenta.
The bed frame under the mattress is so battered that one of the springs is turned into a very sharp protruding object.
Muy afilado.
A depressing sight. A damp mattress on a bed frame and dirty, rumpled sheets. This is the bed where I've been convalescing all this time.
Es...
I'd only end up scratching.
Mejor no lo hago. Bueno, la idea es que seguramente...
Better not. The squeak of the protruding bed spring scraping against this metal lid would grate on my nerves.
Seguramente en algún momento tendremos que rasgar algo con ese saliente, ¿vale?
Good God. What the hell happened here? Rod was right. I don't know what hit this place. But whatever it was, it struck into its very foundations, without any mercy whatsoever. What's happening now?
You better hide, dude. Don't you know that it's dangerous to show your face when the cleanup brigades come into the camp? You're new here, aren't you?
Yeah, you could put it that way.
Well, welcome to your new home. I'm Hank, but everyone calls me the Hunter.
I'm Michael. But what's going on up there?
Nothing, Mike, just routine. The cleanup brigades are taking away a sick person, a dissolved. You know how it is, just doing their job. Ironically, that house belongs to one of the camp moles. Those traitorous scumbags.
Brigades, dissolved, moles. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't remember anything.
Oh, I see, you're a blankhead. Well, you better get up to speed real quick if you want to survive here, Mike. Find me if you need help, dude. I can get you whatever you need. Doesn't matter where it is, how fast it runs, or where it tries to hide. That's why they call me the Hunter.
The Hunter.
All right. I'll remember that.
Come back here! Don't take her away! Don't you know who I am? Come back here! Ah!
Tío, le han pegado un tiro.
They shot that poor man in cold blood. But why did they do that? Hey, Hank?
Uf, madre mía.
I'm afraid he's gone.
No sé mirar las opciones, ¿vale? Quiero darle una poca de voz a lo que son los comentarios. Pero si le doy a escape... Vale, perfecto, escape. Que le he quitado el volumen.
Let's see what's... Please tell me where I am.
Vale. Que le he quitado el volumen para que no se... Para que yo pueda hablar y se me escuche, claro. Y por lo visto la... Hostia.
But what's happening?
¿Qué ha pasado?
What is this? What the hell's going on here? Good God. I think I'm starting to lose my mind.
Tío, me había desprevenido totalmente. ¿Qué ha pasado? Vale, vamos a mirar un poquito por aquí a ver qué...
Hey, you! Don't even think of putting your paws on that shopping cart! Stay away from my stuff, or I swear I'll rip your guts out with my bare hands!
Okay, calm down. I won't touch anything. He must be one of the inhabitants of the refugee camp. What the hell has he got in that shopping cart full of junk?
Será un problema con los mendigos, tío. Entre el vagabundo y ahora un mendigo, tío.
Ouch! Damn it! This vacant lot is full of trash and broken glass. I managed to rip open the sole of my foot on a rusty nail.
Hey! It's not a good idea to walk around barefoot in this enormous trash heap. You won't get very far without shoes.
Yeah, thanks for the tip.
The tip is yours to keep. But if you come near my things, you're a dead man. Understood? Wait, I recognize you. Aren't you the guy Rod's been taking care of in his trailer all this time?
Yes, I am. Do you know Rod?
Of course I do. Everyone in the camp knows Rod. You owe him your life. Don't doubt that for a second. Nowadays, no one in his right mind would do what he did for you, for a total stranger.
Yes, I'm very grateful to him. But tell me, can I ask you a few questions?
Vale, he oído algo sobre una enorme explosión, la gran ola. ¿A qué demonios se refiere? Ese tiroteo, ¿podría explicarme qué acaba de suceder aquí? Cuéntame algo sobre Rob Atkinson. Vuelvo a mi asunto, buena suerte.
I've been hearing about an enormous explosion. The Great Wave. What on earth are they talking about?
But what kind of question is that? Where have you been all this time? Sleeping in a cave?
Well, you could say that.
The Great Wave is the reason we're confined here like animals. The entire world went to hell in a handcart that day, and we went with it.
Eso puedo descubrir con mi propio ojo. ¿Podrías contarme algo más? ¿Encerrado? ¿Te refieres a que no podemos salir del campo de refugiados? Cambiando de tema.
I've been able to see that with my own eyes. Can you tell me anything else?
Okay, I'll tell you what I know. The Great Wave hit us one Friday afternoon right out of the blue. I remember it perfectly because I'd just come out of an important meeting at that precise moment. I'd made a lot of money from a very fat contract. Yes, sirree, Bob. Very, very fat. First, we felt the ground quaking, as if a volcano was about to erupt right under our feet. I had to get out of my car and run. Then came the explosions. Glass broke. Buildings toppled. And then for weeks, the stench of corpses rotting in the streets. In just a few hours, that damn Great Wave sent us all, with our businesses, our money, and our convertibles, straight back to the Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages?
Of course! Are you surprised? In a matter of minutes, we were left with no electricity, no water, no communications. And after the initial chaos, the dissolved started to show up. And that horrible gash opened up in the sky. That stupid breach up there that no one in this hellhole has bothered to explain to us. The fact is that the remains of the old system only held up for a few weeks. And through the cracks, what you see around you started seeping in.
The New World, right?
Yes, indeed. You catch on fast. The New World was here to stay. Welcome to the future, son. Not exactly the way you pictured it, huh?
Uf, qué duro, ¿no, tío? Vamos, que se ha ido todo, pero al garete venido. Vale, venga, vamos.
Confined? Do you mean we can't leave the refugee camp?
Refugee camp. I've always found that term amusing. It seems like things on the other side of the fence work a little better. But here, look around you. Does this look like a refugee camp? It's an army detention camp, and you're a prisoner. Once you come in here, you lose everything, even your name. To them, you're nothing more than a rat, just another camp rat. You'd never be able to get through the gate, especially if you don't know anyone or don't have any contacts on the outside. Doesn't matter who you might have been before the old world collapsed. Believe me, I speak from experience. If you're just a camp rat, I'm afraid the only way out of here is feet first. I don't know if you get my meaning.
Of course I do. Thanks for your encouraging words.
You can keep the words, but come near my things and you're a dead man.
Eso ya lo he dicho antes, ¿eh?
This shooting. Could you explain to me what just happened here?
Explain what exactly? That show the cleanup brigades put on? Someone got too chatty and ratted out a sick person, that's all. There's usually a pact of silence in the camp. No one likes to see one of their own in those ambulances. But in this case, the dissolved was a relative of one of the camp moles. Ironic, isn't it?
But they shot a man.
Yes, so they did. So what?
¿Y qué?
The price of human life has gotten a lot cheaper lately. That needn't surprise anyone these days.
Has dicho una disuelta, un topo en el campo. ¿Qué es eso exactamente? Pues que alguien se chiva. ¿Qué va a ser eso? Venga, que la preguntita que tú también.
Did you say dissolved?
Of course, dissolved. But what the hell's wrong with you? Those people are a real plague. They're sick, and, so they say, highly contagious. Let me give you a piece of advice about them. If you see one, run the other way like he was the devil himself. Even if they don't give you that deadly disease or drive you crazy with their trances, the cleanup brigades will kill you for hiding one. You saw it with your own eyes. They don't even respect their own camp moles.
A camp mole? What is that exactly?
A spy. A stool pigeon. It's in the Army's interest to control the camp from inside. And so they pay some of the inhabitants to feed them information about what happens on this side of the fence. Who comes in, who goes out, who causes trouble. And, of course, who gets sick. They're scumbags, but very well-paid scumbags. And they have certain privileges that no one else in here has. Never trust a mole. They'll do anything to hang on to the favors the Army gives them in this hellhole.
Okay. I'll take your advice.
You're welcome. But stay away from the shopping cart or I'll rip your guts out. Got it?
Tell me about Rod Atkinson.
Well, I don't know him very well, but they say he's decent enough. Too decent for the times we're living in. Did you know that before coming here he was someone important? I think he worked for the government, and he still has some good contacts on the outside. But they're not good enough to get that stupid do-gooder and his family out of here.
Stupid do-gooder?
Well, you know how it is. Rod is one of those good Samaritans who think they can save the world. He has helped a lot of people in the camp, but I think he's going to run into problems. I reckon that he's too weak for these times. I don't know how long he'll be able to survive.
You said he had a son. A pretty good reason to hang on, don't you think?
Yes, Colin. I haven't seen that kid running around here for some time. Do you know if he's all right?
I don't know. I still haven't seen him. His father told me about him.
Well, I'm glad he's not anywhere near me. That brat doesn't have anything better to do than to try to snoop in my shopping cart.
Well, I'll be going on my way. Good luck to you, pal.
Good luck.
Just be sure to stay away from my things.
Bueno, nos hemos enterado un poquito de qué va el asunto y cómo va el tema.
Let's see. I could swear that the lid is just the right size for this drum. Perfect.
Bueno, lo primero que hemos probado ha funcionado. ¿Y qué
Damn
pasa?
it! What's going on?
Me he tosido yo también.
This damn shithole is going to be the end of us.
A supermarket shopping cart full of plastic bags, ready to burst. This individual who looks like a bum never takes his eyes off it, and the swarm of insects fluttering around the merchandise don't either. I'll have to do this quickly, before this man stops coughing. Let's see what we have here. Ugh. I don't see anything but rotten food, tattered clothes, and trash. Wait a minute. It seems like there's also a small billfold with a bunch of credit cards. What the hell is this guy doing with so much plastic money?
That's what they want.
I have no intention of putting my... There's nothing else in that shopping cart that interests me.
This filthy shithole is going to be
This
the
guy's
death
in no
of us.
condition to hold a conversation right now.
Vale, vamos a echarle un vistazo a lo que hemos encontrado en el carrito. La verdad que lo primero que hemos probado y no ha
These are the
funcionado.
charred and misshapen remains of a bank
They
card.
mean to kill
I
us
doubt it can be
all.
used in this
That's what they
condition,
want.
assuming there's anyone capable of finding a cash machine working.
Vale, veremos. Veremos a ver si
That
lo
must be little Colin, Rod's son.
veremos a ver si no está
He
malo.
looks
Colin.
unwell. Was that him I heard moaning in pain inside
Qué
the
guapo, se ve
trailer?
el reflejo ahí abajo del protagonista.
That's Rod's wife. I heard her calling him from the other side of that door that just closed behind him. She looks worn out with those dark circles under her eyes. She looks like she hasn't slept in days.
No. Que le había dado sin querer donde no era.
From here, it looks like one of those metal boxes for Danish butter cookies. And judging from how worn it looks, I'd say that it's been reused over and over again.
La pistola ahí dentro, que la hemos leído en el mensaje.
Rod seems
la libreta.
upset and worried. What's going on in there? It's hard to see clearly through all the grime on this glass. On the other side is the room where Rod and his family have locked themselves away.
Vale, ha dicho que está sucio. ¿Y cómo sale aquí? Vamos a ir a la puerta del automóvil, que no lo hemos visto antes.
Time has left these hinges bent and rusted. There's no way I'm going to be able to break open this door with my bare hands.
Entra por la ventana, hombre.
The half-scrap remains of a sports car that looks like a collector's item. From the style, it must have been worth a pretty penny a long, long time ago. But now, I'm afraid it's just scrap metal.
Vale, para acá podemos ir. La bola. Vamos a entrar de nuevo dentro. Vamos a hacer un poquito de ladronzuelillo, a ver si podemos abrir
Let's see if I can do this.
con la tarjeta. Bien.
Good. The mechanism gave way on the first try, but the car is trashed. For my sake, I hope that guy outside never finds out about this.
Vale, hemos abierto la guardarropa. Bien, tenemos unos zapatos.
Not just yet. I'm grateful to Rod for his hospitality, but these old shoes don't look very clean. It won't take more than a few hours for the wound on my foot to turn really ugly. And the last thing I need now is a serious infection.
Vaya por Dios. Vale, una botella de whisky. Una funda de almohada. Y acabo de cerrar el guardarropa. Vale, venga. Vamos a hacer... A ver, whisky.
For now, it's just a pillowcase. I don't see any point in soaking it in liquor. I'm not going to waste the whiskey on that. That would only make a puddle in the closet. And those shoes wouldn't be much cleaner than they are now.
El horno no había nada más. No creo que esto sirva para
The
limpiar.
pillowcase is quite large. It's not going to fit inside Rod's shoes. Okay, let's see how well this protruding bed spring can cut.
Vale, perfecto. Sabía yo que había que cortar algo. Y esto supongo que no cierra el armario. Esto supongo que es para nuestros pies. Para
It's a
poder
good
poner los
idea,
zapatos.
but these bandages are still no use to me. If I use them like this, the wound in my foot would end up getting infected anyway.
Pues con alcohol, tío.
I'll use a little of what's in the bottle to soak the
Lo que yo
bandages.
quería hacer antes.
Here goes. I'll use the bandages on my foot. I hope the alcohol is enough to keep it from getting infected. Let's pray this improvised remedy doesn't lead to a delightful case of gangrene.
What bastard put a lid on the drum? You tried to suffocate me, you bunch of assholes!
I think that guy out there just discovered the reason for a sudden coughing fit.
Some coward in this shithole wanted to suffocate me! Me! Who was it? Who was it? Come back here so I can give you back your lid, you son of a bitch!
Uf, nos ha puesto.
Did you hear that noise, Rod? What's going on out there?
I don't know. I'll go have a look. I think it's that poor drunk who's always hanging around the trailer. He's kicking up a fuss again. It's a good thing poor Colin can't hear his insults.
Don't ever say anything like that again, Rod.
I'm sorry, honey. I wasn't thinking.
Sorry, honey. Vale, pues ya puedo entrar. Ahí voy yo con mis zapatos nuevos.
What are you doing here? Get out of here! You've no business being in this room!
Rod, I'm sorry. But what's going on?
Get out of here, Michael! You didn't see anything, understood? Out! Out! Excuse my outburst, Michael. I shouldn't have behaved that way. It's not like me. But this new world brings out the worst in all of us. It's just that I can't stand to see Colin suffer this way. So for your own good, please stay away from this room.
Away? Why?
It's no use trying to hide it. You're bound to find out sooner or later. Colin is very sick, and the authorities claim his illness is highly contagious.
Highly contagious? Is he one of the dissolved?
Michael, I won't let anyone use that word in my house! Yes, Colin
Sí.
caught that damn disease.
¿Pero en qué consiste exactamente la enfermedad? ¿Pero cómo ha podido contagiarse Colin?
And what exactly does the disease consist of?
I don't know, Michael. No one really does. The only news is what the army brings us. They say the disease is highly contagious, and it's our duty to turn over all victims to the cleanup brigades. But no one has ever come back after being carried off in one of those ambulances. No one. So we can't let them take Colin, do you understand?
Yes, of course I understand.
They say that all the victims are condemned, that there's no salvation for anyone, that at the end of their suffering and their trances lies certain death. I think that even the army is afraid of the victims. Really strange things happen around them, Michael. Things you wouldn't believe.
¿Qué cosas ocurren alrededor de los contagiados? Venga.
What things happen around people infected with the disease?
Strange things with no possible explanation. In their trances, they go places, Michael. They bring back information. They know things. They talk to people who are no longer with us. And we've been living like this for weeks. The things that are happening around Colin are getting more and more confusing and hard to bear.
Talking to the dead? Jesus. This man's nerves are shot from the exhaustion and stress. But how did Colin get infected?
We don't know. No one knows how the disease is spread. The only thing we know is that the disease appeared after the catastrophe and that it's spreading like wildfire.
So the Great Wave brought the dissolved with it?
Yes, but don't use that word again. Not in this house, anyway. It's so cruel and disrespectful. In effect, that's the only thing we know for sure about all this insanity. The Great Wave took everything from us and left us with this epidemic.
What's happening to Colin is terrible. If only there was something I could do.
Well, Michael, you can help us. I'm convinced that our finding you was no coincidence. You've got to help us.
Vale, voy a leerlo. Pero tú mismo lo has dicho que todos los enfermos están condenados. ¿Qué se puede hacer? Implicarse es peligroso. He visto un tiroteo ahí fuera. Además del posible contagio.
But you said yourself that all the victims are condemned. What can I do?
No, all is not lost. In the camp there are rumors of a cure. It seems that in the city, on the other side of the fence, the victims have access to a drug. But we can't get it here. And my contacts out there, well, let's just say they can't do anything to help.
Así que existe un medicamento.
So there's a drug that can cure them.
Yes, but they say that producing it takes a long time and is very expensive. And so it's reserved for city dwellers who can afford to pay for it. Get us that drug, Michael. I beg of you, please. Colin's time is running out.
Getting involved looks dangerous. I saw that shooting out there. There's also the possibility of infection.
Infection? Are you afraid for your life, Michael?
Un poco, ¿vale?
Without our help, you'd be dead right now. Dead. Don't forget that. What's more, I could help you in return. I could help you get back what you lost. Don't you see?
Give me back what I lost? But you hardly know me, Rod.
I know the essential part, Michael. I know that you're a blankhead.
Blankhead? What the devil does that mean?
A blankhead is a person with no memories, who can't remember anything. It seems that the Great Wave had an enormous neurological impact on certain people, Michael. You're not the only one, or even the worst case. There are people who even forgot how to talk and how to walk after the explosion. Some ended up dying of starvation. They forgot what food looked like, how to chew it, even that eating was a necessity. You can consider yourself lucky. You still remember how to keep yourself alive. And that's the important thing. The natural recovery process is slow. It can take months, if at all. Listen to me, Michael. A man without memories is just a shadow. Or even worse, he's nobody. I still have some contacts out there. I was an important man in the municipal government. I could trace your name, your data in public records, your fingerprints. I could restore your whole life in the blink of an eye. But please, help us.
I'm grateful for your help, Rod, and for everything you people have done for me. But
listen to me, Michael. We know that it's possible that our son is condemned to die. In fact, my wife and I have everything prepared for when he leaves us. Our child is the only thing that keeps us holding on in the new world. Nothing would have any meaning for us without him. So if there is even the slightest chance of saving him, we are prepared to do whatever it takes. Please, Michael, help us. For God's sake, listen to him. He's just a child.
Rod, come in here, quickly!
Bring us that cure, and we'll help you get your life back. Colin is our only hope in this new world. Help us save our future, and I'll give you back your past. I promise you.
I promise you.
Goodbye, Michael.
no, Rod, wait. Bring a drug? Is he out of his mind? That man wants me to put his son's life in my hands? I can barely remember who I am. And I probably wouldn't last more than a few hours out there. But Rod was right. A man without a past is nothing more than his shadow. He offered to help me get my life back, my memories. So if I want answers, I have only one possible course of action, to get that drug.
Los personajes pasan, parece de golpe, está desanimado a animarse de golpe. Está bien, ¿sabes? Vale, aquí no puedo entrar.
This oven is empty, dirty, and abandoned. There's nothing left in there that can interest me.
Vale, pues ya que tengo zapatos. Bueno, aunque no sé si antes me
Wait
podía
a
ir.
minute. Before leaving, I should write down everything important I find out in this notebook. It might come in handy if, as Rod says, I'm one of the blankheads the great wave left in its wake.
Vale, he apuntado información. La libreta. Ah, pues para eso sirve la libreta. Entonces, Rod me ha prometido su ayuda para recuperar mi pasado, a cambio de localizar esos medicamentos para los disueltos. Vale. Y esto salía aquí. Mejor que no hable con él. Me voy a ir a ver qué encuentro en esta nueva zona. Aquí, aquí y aquí. Vale. Vale. Se ha desgarrado algo.
Damn it! What's going on? It's amazing. Everything's changing again. Everything. Everything is mutating, and I haven't even moved. I don't understand. I don't understand anything.
Hostia, pues si no lo entiendes tú,
A
yo lo
quick
entiendo.
glance at these tents is enough to make you realize how forsaken these poor people are, confined against their will inside the camp.
Vale, vamos a venir primero aquí hacia la derecha. A ver qué es lo que hay. Vale, una señora y dos señores jugando a las cartas. Vale, antes de hablar con nadie,
A
vamos
thick
a...
wall of scrap metal, debris and rusty metal surrounds this place on all four sides. It's a good 20 feet high. I can't believe it manages to stay up. A few lousy coins. They don't look like they're worth much. Just a few loose pennies. This noisy electric generator seems very old and decrepit, but it works. The wreck of an old ice cream truck. I don't reckon it's going anywhere without its wheels. It looks like the enormous skeleton of a beached whale.
Vamos a toquetear el generador.
Hey, keep your hands away from that thing, pal, if you want him to stay attached to you.
Okay, I just wanted to see it up close. There's no reason to get nervous.
Bueno, vamos a hablar con ellos. Y vamos a hablar con la señora. ¿Qué hace?
Hello, Mr. Sleepyhead.
Excuse me? What did you call me?
You're Mr. Sleepyhead. I saw you sleeping in Colin's trailer. I'm so glad you're awake now.
No dormía, he estado enfermo durante mucho tiempo dentro de esa caravana. Señor Dormilón. No, ese no es mi nombre, me llamo Michael. Así que tú también conoces a Rob y a Colin. Ahora debo irme.
I wasn't asleep. I was sick for a long time in that trailer.
No, you weren't sick. You were sleeping. Like a big brown bear, Sir Sleepyhead. Sometimes I used to watch you sleeping in Rod's house, and you would grunt in your sleep like a bear. A great big lazy bear, Mr. Sleepyhead. But I'm glad you're awake now. I like your voice. You sound like a knight in a fairy tale.
Mr. Sleepyhead? No, that's not my name. I'm Michael.
No, you're just trying to fool me. You're Mr. Sleepyhead. My name is Rose.
There's something odd about this girl's behavior. It's true that she's very young, but she talks like a little girl. Nice to meet you, Rose. So, do you know Rod and Colin too?
Of course. I go over to their house a lot. Well, when they let me out of the van, that is. Rod and his wife have been very nice to me. Sometimes they let me play with Colin. We're very good friends. Are you a friend of Rod's and Colin's too, Mr. Sleepyhead?
Yes, I'm friends with them too.
Do you want me to tell you a secret, Mr. Sleepyhead?
Claro.
Of course.
I have your old clothes. The ones you were wearing when Rod and his wife found you. I have them in the van. They were going to throw them away, but they gave them to me to wrap my baby in. He'll be cold now that winter's coming.
Your baby?
Winter is coming, tío.
You have a baby, Rose?
Yes, I have a baby, but he's not with me right now. He got lost. Have you seen him? Do you know where he is? I have another secret to tell you, Mr. Sleepyhead.
Back in the van, Rose. Now. Move your ass. Get in there.
Another secret? Just a minute. Wait!
Get in that van, Rose.
It's a very important secret, Mr. Sleepyhead. Something about you. Something about before the Great Wave. But first I have to find my baby. Have you seen him?
Come on, Rose, you heard me. You don't want to get us mad now, do you?
I have to go. Goodbye, Mr. Sleepyhead.
Poor girl. She's obviously mentally ill. She's just a little girl in a grown-up's body.
And you? If you want to go in there with her, you gotta pay like everybody else.
Mala leche, esta gente.
Hey,
Curioso.
you guys. You talking to us?
Déjame entrar a la furgoneta. Solo quiero hablar unos minutos con... Solo quiero hablar con Rose unos minutos. Vale, voy a leerlo según le vaya dando, ¿vale? Mejor que leerlo todo para después darle.
Let me into the van. I just want to talk to Rose for a few minutes.
Of course, it's none of our business what you want to do with her. But if you go into the van, you gotta pay the price.
Got any money on you?
No, I don't have any on me.
Then come back when you do and quit bothering us. We have a very busy schedule, you know?
The girl said something about a secret involving me. Something from before the Great Wave. It seemed important. But what is it? Maybe it was a product of her madness. But I need to talk to her inside that van to get some answers. I'll come back with the money.
Now that sounds much better. I see that we're starting to speak the same language.
Esa pobre chica no está bien de la cabeza, actuó como un niño. ¿Cómo puedes tener tan pocos escrúpulos?
That poor girl's not right in the head. She acts like a little girl. How can you people be so unscrupulous?
Rose is an adult. She's earning a living. Like we're all trying to in this camp.
Mind your own business, pal.
You're abusing a poor, disturbed girl.
Us? Taking advantage of Rose? Us? You want to insult us?
We're giving her room and board. She's got nothing to complain about. But she's got to work. That's the only thing we ask of her in return. That's the way things work now.
Bring us the money, then you can get in the van with her. Hey, do us a favor and spare us all that sanctimonious crap from the old world, pal. Don't waste our time.
Ese es un generador eléctrico. He visto muy pocos por aquí.
Is that an electric generator? I've seen very few of these around here.
Yeah, in this hellhole, you can count them on the fingers of one hand.
Nowadays, you can't buy generators like this anywhere. And with the power grid all blown to hell, you can bet that one of these is worth more than your life.
We use it to light Rose's room. We like to protect our, investments. So don't get too close to it. These things are very fragile. And they have a bad habit of getting lost. Now, we wouldn't want that to happen, would we?
Vale, voy a intentarlo, pero me van a reñir, ya verás.
Hey, where do you think you're going, pal?
Let me into the van. I just want to talk to Rose for a few minutes.
Of course, it's none of our business what you want to do with her. But if you go into the van, you gotta pay the price.
Bueno, pues supuestamente, si le doy a la I, vale, se abre el inventario. Vale, supuestamente tengo que conseguir dinero. Voy a venir aquí hacia la izquierda a ver qué hay antes de ir aquí a la valla, porque no me inspira confianza ir a la valla. Vale, iré a de bidones, habitante solitario.
Hello.
Hola.
Hello, son. Would you like to get a little closer to the fire?
Thanks, mister. This is a rather isolated part of the camp. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm waiting. That's all. Just waiting.
¿Está esperando? ¿Y qué es lo que espera exactamente?
You're waiting. And what is it you're waiting for exactly?
Nothing in particular. The usual. For the fire to go out, for sunrise, for it to get cold again. I'm waiting for something to change, or for everything to stay as it is. I'm just waiting. You're too young to understand.
Empieza a hacer frío. ¿Dónde está tu tienda o su caravana?
It's starting to get cold. Where's your tent? Or your trailer?
Yes, I had a tent once. They issued me one when I decided to enter the refugee camp after the Great Wave. The trailer was out of the question. They went to the families with the best contacts. Ah, you know how it is. Even in purgatory, some people are more equal than others.
Joder. Ay. Dice que decidió entrar al campo. ¿Significa que no le obligaron a venir aquí?
You say that you decided to enter the camp. Does that mean that people weren't forced to come here?
Oh, no. Of course not. Why would they have to force us? The catastrophe hit the city hard. Those of us who had lost our homes were invited to come here. In principle, it was temporary, just until the authorities got the situation under control and started rebuilding. We used to have food, water, and a place to sleep.
But now it's more like a prison camp than a refugee center. What happened?
I don't really know. I guess something went wrong. The new housing they promised us never got built. And in the end, the army ceased control of the camp. The food ran out, and then the water supply. Nobody bothered to replace them. Seems like our lives didn't matter anymore.
I see.
In time, things in here started to get very ugly. There were riots, uprisings, and the army decided to close the gates of the camp without any notice. One day they decided that no one could enter or leave here. Well, actually, people still could. Enter, that is. Now, this is where anyone who gets in the way in the city ends up. Or anyone they don't know what to do with.
So, this has turned into something like a concentration camp.
That's right, son. That's exactly what it is. You know, it's funny. I remember when my father told us about the war in Europe, about all the persecution, deportations, those overcrowded cattle cars. That all sounded to us like an old movie, an old horror movie. And look at us now. I guess some things never change. They just stop being visible for long enough for us to forget about them.
Qué duro, ¿no? ¿Y dónde está ahora su pequeña tienda de campaña?
And where's your tent now?
It was stolen from me a while back. They fetch a good price on the black market now.
Stolen? But how could anyone...
You seem to be new in the camp, am I right? These things happen nowadays. It's best to take things as they come. The reality of the new world is very simple, son. The soldiers and the moles do whatever they like on this side of the fence. And the hunter and his men run the black market and all the dirty rackets. I suggest you memorize all this.
The hunter? I've exchanged a few words with him, but I hardly know him. Yes. The man who protected me during all the shooting. He seems like someone with good connections and some answers. Could he know anything about the drug for treating the dissolved? Do you know where I can find him?
You can find him in those barracks at the back. That's his... well, let's say it's his logistics office. Now, the hunter is very dangerous. Watch your step around him and his men. I happened to meet his father when he was young. He was a violent, degenerate son of a bitch. A real asshole. And I'm afraid his son has followed in his footsteps.
Let's talk about something else.
Empieza a hacer frío, pero tú ya se lo he dicho antes. Bueno, no se lo he dicho, pero me lo has dicho que se lo han robado.
It's starting to get cold. Where's your tent? Or your trailer?
Yes, I had a tent once. They issued me one when I decided to enter the refugee camp after the Great Wave. A trailer was out of the question. They went to the family. You know how it is.
Let's talk about something else.
Dígame, ¿existe alguna forma de salir del campo?
So tell me, is there any way to get out of the camp?
I'm sorry, son. The only way to get out of this camp is to know someone important who can pull strings for you. Or to become a camp mole. Those traitorous scumbags have gate passes.
I see.
I'm not surprised you want to get out of this shithole. You've no doubt got something to do or someone to find out there. Well, they say things are better in the city. That there's order and that things are starting to function again. But who knows? Well, at least they have Reverend Blake and the consolation of Suicide Park.
Suicide Park, ¿qué es eso? ¿Quién es el padre Blake? ¿Y hasta dónde llegó el impacto del aula? ¿Cómo están las cosas más allá de la ciudad? Cambiando de tema.
Suicide Park? What's that?
Just a song that drifts into the refugee camp from the other side of the fence now and then. And the first dark stars come out to hang from the sky. We could sit and count them together, you and I, when the sun departs from Suicide Park. I'm sure you still have some hopes, some dreams. I'm afraid you're just too young to understand it.
¿Quién es el padre Blake?
Who's Reverend Blake?
He's a preacher who sometimes comes from the city to bring us a little comfort. Now, some people make jokes about him, but many of us believe that he's a prophet. You should hear him speak sometime. His words etch themselves deeply into your soul. That's why he has so many followers inside and outside the camp.
And what was the extent of the Great Wave's impact? How are things beyond the city?
Truth is, I couldn't tell you. In the first days, the chaos was so overwhelming that no one worried about anything beyond their own backyard. We victims were disoriented, cut off from the world. Then I came into the camp and news from far-off places doesn't reach this prison. I'm afraid you'd have to leave here to get the answer to that question.
Eso no te lo voy a preguntar otra vez.
I should be going on my way. Have a pleasant wait, mister.
Supongo que cuando me está diciendo que le vuelva a preguntar lo mismo, es que habrá alguna opción de devolverle una caravana o una tienda de campaña.
Here goes.
O algo por el estilo.
It's impossible to budge these drums at all. I don't know what they contain, but whatever it is, it weighs a ton. Okay, here goes. It's impossible to budge these drums.
Vale, voy a intentar esto. Vale, supuestamente...
Someone placed a bunch of those rusty drums up against the wall. Ugh. They smell like liquor and industrial oil. Oh, Jesus. The cocktail of odors is nauseating.
Que tengo en el inventario una botella de whisky.
These drums are full and sealed. Why waste the liquor on them?
Vale, pues antes de entrar aquí, vamos a dejar aquí el primer capítulo. La verdad que tiene una historia bastante... Tiene buena pinta la historia y además es bastante dura. Bueno, como he dicho al principio del vídeo, este no es del tipo de comedia. Esto es otro estilo, ¿vale? Y bueno, a mí me llama mucho la atención, me está llamando mucho la atención por ahora la historia, la verdad, y tengo ganas de jugar ya, vamos, de seguir jugando. Pero como ya llevo una hora de vídeo, voy a dejarlo aquí para, ya sabéis, para el tipo de la conexión. Y bueno, ya sabéis, me dejáis en los comentarios qué os parece esta nueva aventura que estamos empezando hoy. Y ya sabéis, me gusta, compartir el vídeo si queréis que esto siga. Y nada, espero que nos veamos el próximo lunes con el segundo capítulo de Synchronicity. Así que nada, hasta pronto compañeros, chao.